What's going on, my feathered chicken nuggets? I, along with many others, have people I would love to have experience Dark Souls. However, without guidance, any Souls game requires a certain set of lessons to be learned. I am here to offer those lessons for you preemptively. Now for this video particularly, I will be referencing Dark Souls 1, but these lessons pretty much translate to every Souls game in their own way. So without further ado, I present to you the lessons of Souls. Lesson 1. Dark Souls is not your friend. It's arguably your enemy, and it tells you this all throughout the tutorial. Barring the 3 punching bags in the hallway, the first enemy you fight is a boss, and you don't even know it at first as it doesn't show up until you've walked well into the room. Not to mention, you're currently equipped with nothing but a broken toothpick as a weapon. Now while it is possible to beat the Asylum Demon right here and now, it's going to be an agonizing experience, but with a bit of situational awareness we can discover a pathway leading us out of the boss room, protecting us from the Asylum Demon. Following that, you're met with a hallway with an archer at the end of it,
fast as fuck, boy.
And a giant metal ball crashing into you, all before you learn what a bonfire does. There's a reason the game came out with a Prepare to Die edition. You're gonna die. Over and over again. It's literally written in the story.
Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now.
You aren't some hero who's come to save the world from the Dark Ages, at least, not yet. You are an undead, a catalyst for the flame meant to die and return endlessly until you either go mad or prevail. With each death, however, you are meant to have learned something new. Something not presented to you, but instead you've learned through experience and hardship. You only truly lose when you give up, effectively allowing your character to become one of those hollows blocking you from completing your goal. And you'll notice very early on the difficulty of not knowing what to expect. The game isn't going to guide you in any way, and once you've beaten the Asylum Demon, it's easy to feel like you've just been dropped into a world without context. One of my cousins carries you to a place called Firelink Shrine, drops you off, and dips. Don't mind him, he's an asshole. You know the fire is fading, but where do you have to go, and what do you have to do to fix it? This leads me to lesson 2.
There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you.
Dark Souls, unlike many games, doesn't have objectives. To give you a visual, Firelink has 3 different directions leading out of it that you can go. One of which, obviously being the right way, however absolutely no one is going to stop you from making the wrong choice. I don't know a single Dark Souls player that doesn't have an I went the wrong way story. It's important to remember this game isn't telling you a story, it's putting you in one and letting you experience it firsthand, and one of the beautiful things about this game is my story very likely won't match yours. You'll die in ways I didn't, just as I've died in ways you won't. You'll grow a disdain for specific enemies that some people may not even remember. Except Blighttown. Everyone hates Blighttown. Every path or room you encounter has the potential to be the reason you went outside to touch grass, or a game-changing item. And while exploring, it's important to remember once again, death is embedded in this story. You are going to die. Sometimes the answer is simply, that way is too hard. Okay, listen. You could level up resistance. You could. As much as you like, even.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
So you continue forth, taking on hollows, demons, black knights. Oh, maybe not black knights. Things may start to seem relatively manageable for a short, very short period of time, allowing you to get the basics down and enjoy a variety of enemies. But after some exploring, you'll eventually find yourself inside a cathedral. At the top, you'll find a fog wall, and on the other side of this fog wall is the reason roughly 30% of players never progressed beyond this point. It's hard to get an accurate percentage, but roughly 30% is what I was able to find across all platforms. Now, why is that, you might ask? Well, partially because Dark Souls isn't your friend, but also, and more importantly, because there is yet another lesson to be learned. Perseverance.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. a land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
As you learned in the opening cutscene, the world was once without disparity, unchanging, until one day, from an unknown source, there was fire. And fire changed everything. From the fire came life.
Then, from the dark, they came and found the souls of lords within the flame.
This is where Nito, the Witch of Izalith, and Gwyn found their respective souls, giving them such magnificent power. There was also, however, another being known as the Furtive Pygmy who found the dark soul within the flame and split it into many fragments, allowing hollows to become human. And without humanity, a person will inevitably lose their sanity, causing them to revert back to a mindless hollow. So all things considered, this isn't a lore video, so why am I telling you this? I say this all in an attempt to open your perspective on what to expect throughout the game. Like I said before, you aren't being told a story, you are the story. And at this point in the game, Dark Souls is slowly letting go of your hand as you adapt to the setting your story takes place in. So what could possibly be behind the fog wall that requires such delicate preparation? I'm glad you asked. This is the Gargoyles boss fight, and they are some bastards. As far as their source, it's hard to say for sure as it's never said bluntly, but I've narrowed it down to either they were created by the gods of Anor Londo, these guys of this place, as a means of protecting the Bells of Awakening and simultaneously used as a trial for any undead looking to link the fire, or they are a byproduct of the Witch of Izalith, these guys, when they accidentally created the demon race. And to those who know, this theory would also mean the ones in Anor Londo were created by Gwendolyn, hence why they are lightning based. But the point is, they are assholes, but they are also important. The state of the world as you know it depends in large part on their ability to defend this bell, but also in large part on your ability to grow and learn. The gargoyles have many ways of convincing you to touch grass, such as an unnecessarily long halberd, wings to make your camera have a stroke, a big health bar, fire, and if you noticed I said gargoyles, plural, another shows up when the first gets to half health. Not to mention the aspects that aren't even related to the boss, like gravity. This fight will almost certainly be the first brick wall you face in Dark Souls, and some would even say it's unfair. And they'd be right. But why would you walk into this expecting it to be fair when the first guy you meet after leaving the asylum is like, honestly, you might just want to go back for real? This man said, with a straight face, that staying in the rat-infested, hollow-infested, double big booty demon-infested asylum is better than what you are about to experience, and you expected this to be fair? The interesting thing about this boss is when you really get down to it, it's easy. Obviously not for any new players, but that's the point. You need to learn when to time your rolls, when to be locked on, and when definitely not to be locked on. You need to learn patience enough to take opportunities to heal and collect yourself. You need to learn spacing so you can better time your attacks for safe moments. Learn to read your opponents, remember their attack patterns, figure out what the fuck iframes are. All of these and more are slowly being beaten into your playstyle at all times throughout the game, until one day, you're just a naked man running past everything with a big ass sword in your hand trying to one-shot everything. The point I'm trying to make is the gargoyles, while terribly difficult when you first reach them, are no more than a couple squirrels with wings by the time you finish your story. However, that doesn't change how difficult and unfairly they are designed. There are many who play this game and wonder why someone would put themselves through this, and truthfully, you only really understand after the fact. The moment they fall and your screen lights up saying victory achieved, it feels like you can breathe again. The gods placed this enemy as a guardian of the bells, which are needed to decide who's gonna save the fucking world, mind you, and you persevered through the hardships, coming back over and over again until you finally prevailed. And this is truly at the core of what makes Dark Souls, Dark Souls. This game is truly a piece of art and personally changed my own life in ways I can't even begin to express with words. When I was young, me and my closest friend bonded over this game and the challenges it put in front of us. Beating a boss or finding the right path made us feel like we were on top of the world, and it taught us so many lessons both about the game and our own lives that I still use as a guide to this day. I think there's a lot this game has to offer, and I really hope your experience through it is as immersive as ours. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. I worked really hard on it. I hope all of you have a fantastic rest of your evenings, and I will see you guys in the next one.
And don't get yourself killed. Neither of us wants to see you go hollow.